there's lots of ways to look at the practice of yin and yang energy, especially from a tantric lovemaking perspective. There are a number of places that we get to play with this principle and how we touch, with how we kiss, and how we make love or engage in intercourse. One of the things that you will often hear it described as is the difference between masculine energy and feminine energy. I'm curious how you would define yin and yang.
First off, I would say that Tantra is not gender-based. It's love and energy-based. And there are two energies inside of each of us. Yin, sometimes called feminine, let's call it receptive, and yang, active. So these two energies express themselves continually in what you're doing in lovemaking. In Tantra, very often we break up the roles of yin and yang so that one has a period of just being receptive. You love me up. You be the kisser, I'll be the kissy. You touch me, I'll be fully present for the love you're transmitting. Receptive, yin, yang, active, doing. And the obvious examples of that we teach in our courses is kissing. Where usually in lovemaking, both people are doing the kissing and the man is doing his tongue flute thing. And kissing should be a dance where you trade back and forth the giver and the receiver. One's job is to give and stimulate the 800 nerve endings that we have in each lip. The underside, inside of the lip, and the outside. The tongue has 800 nerve endings. On the tip, we want to wake up the nerve endings in our partner, pleasure them while we're giving, so the partner can just let me be kissed and be receptive and open, because kissing exchanges energy and harmonizes the energy of the partners. And we like to make it a practice every day to kiss for 10 minutes. Not with any goal to get anywhere else, but to be fully present, giver, receiver, giver, receiver.
Because as the receiver, you really get to go into a meditative state around sensation. You get to study what you're feeling. You get to take it all in. One of the words that I would use to describe yin is magnetic, this receiving station. It's often talked about as like in the feminine pole, but you could use, instead of gender identification, you could use two ends of the battery, where you've got the plus end of the battery is the sender. That would be the yang energy. That would be the active player. It sends the current this way, outward. Where the yin energy is magnetic in nature. It's the receiving station. It's what accepts the charge from the yang energy. When we are in the role of receiver, when we are in that yin state, we are allowing, we are welcoming, we are absorbing, we are taking in the conscious loving that our partner, if this is partner play, is putting out using yang energy. So Charles, would you say a little bit more about what constitutes a yang touch versus what constitutes a yin touch?
Yes. I also need to mention that yin yang is about completing circuitry between the partners. When we teach touch, we have one be the receiver. You focus on your breathing, the eyes of the giver, and what sensations are. The giver touches in a way where you're not taking from your partner, you're giving to the partner. You're not grabbing the breast for you. You're awakening the nerve endings throughout the breast, but especially around the nipples. When you're touching the belly or the genitals, you want to use different modalities or types of kissing or touching and change the variety, the yin-yang, changing the pressure, how firm the pressure or how gentle, and all of the gradations between. Light, medium, and hard for a beginner. You get more subtle than that as you become more advanced. And you create variety in your touch. You use different parts of fingers and palms and heels. You change the pressure, you change the speeds. Sometimes it's a caress, sometimes it's a scratch, sometimes it's a squeeze. Sometimes the most important, still. So often in lovemaking, we're both being active. And sometimes it's nice for both. Let's just assimilate what's come into us and see how we feel now. Let's stop moving, stop touching, stop kissing, and just look at each other and breathe and let the magnetic field between the partners circulate energy. Complete the circuit and awaken sleeping energy in these chakras, these energy centers we have in the center of our body.
Yeah, I love what you said about the circuitry, that there's a beautiful exchange that can happen between partners when we are being conscientious of sending a current out. For instance, we can do that with our eyes. I send a current out to my partner, that they receive my gaze, and then my partner can take my gaze and let it travel, let it sink in so that I can see more of them. And then when it's my turn to receive the gaze, I allow my gaze to soften as the receiver, and I allow them to penetrate me through the eyes, through these windows of the soul. When it comes to touch, like Charles said, you can keep it really simple. Consider pressure and then speed. A squeeze that's very light, more energetic in nature, that's going to be more yin. Now, the master has 7 levels of speed and 7 levels of pressure. But to keep it simple, just start with 3. Slow, medium, fast, light, medium, deep when it comes to pressure. How would you use the yin and yang principles energetically, Charles? Perhaps you're not necessarily verbally communicating, but you might be using your body language to communicate your desires or to turn someone on. Where does this come into play with foreplay? How can you really capitalize on yin and yang as a principle in foreplay?
Couples can come to bed in repulsion. I don't feel like doing anything. I got a headache. I'm tired. But if they do the practice, magnetism happens because our energy body remembers, oh, this is about love, and I know this person. And the energy body starts to magnetize. And then suddenly we've changed how we feel by doing the practice. Instead of couples waiting until they both feel like having something called sex, let's get together and practice some techniques to reconnect us, to deepen our connection, and maybe, just maybe, change how we feel. Sure, you're tired now, but in 5 minutes of doing a practice that are simple to do and don't take away your energy, but increase it, oh, I feel more open now. Oh, I feel like I can give to you. I feel like I can let you look into my heart through my eyes. I delight in your touch now, whereas before I was in repulsion and I don't feel like I want you to touch me. Change how you feel by doing a practice and learn practices that gently lead you down the path of deeper connection, of what we would call sexual connection. But sex is just a biological urge. Sexual love is a learned skill, a learned practice. And we want to become lovers. We want to become masterful in giving love and receiving love, in giving pleasure and receiving pleasure. Most people are good at one of those and need to work on the other. Some people are really good giving, but don't know how to receive. And some people know how to really receive, but they don't know how to give back. So this is a path to learning that. And it's one of the most wonderful things you can be, a lover.
There's all this fear about maintaining an erection. If you lose a little bit of your erection during lovemaking, think of it as the yin tide, where the tide goes in. You get to absorb all this juju from making love. You've been spending all this energy to create all this fire with all this penetration and activity. If you have a moment of stillness with a partner, and you allow yourself to absorb all that fire, to absorb all that essence in a moment of stillness where you're stretching your intimacy ability, having your eyes open, opening yourself to the yin tide so that all that energy you just put out now gets to reverse its polarity, going back into you, bringing more vitality to your organs, your glands, your chakras. This is a key aspect of using sex to remain young and vital, is allowing that yin tide to come in and up. Sometimes in that absorption process, you might lose 10, 15% of an erection. It comes back. Dance into the yang and everything just shows up beautifully.
You use the word tide, and it's just like a tide. We're putting energy out, I'm giving, I'm moving, I'm kissing. And now let's stop somewhere between giving and receiving. Let's just be. Let's see how we feel. Oh, and the magnetism, the connection just deepens and sweetens. Remember, this is about love. Orgasms are a signpost on the road that you've been loving. Slow down, pause, and remember, ask yourself, am I feeling love now? Do I know how to receive love? Now, you mentioned about losing the erection. Most men at some point lose their erections. It's a fact of life. But if you can view it a little different, oh, my energy body that was putting out needs a chance to take in, so I have more to give a little later.
Yeah, I love that. It's really the body's wisdom is at play when it's time to rest and lose the erection. It doesn't mean that there's a problem or that anyone is failing. And Charles said something just a moment ago about being, just like being in the love. And so you got to ask yourself, who do I want to be as a lover? Who do you want to be? That's a good question.
Bathe in the feeling of arousal. Not worry about the end of the journey, but be in the journey and just be. It's so beautiful to stop all the doing and look at each other and start breathing together as one. In together, out together. So that the energy starts to weave between you. And one of the definitions of Tantra is a weaving of energy that is expansive. So you both end up with more energy, more pleasure, and especially more love.
So just to recap, this aspect of yin and yang and how it relates to Tantra and Tantric lovemaking is it's playing with this harmony, this energetic current, this exchange, where the yang sends energy out and the yin takes energy in. And this circulation between bodies, even the circulation with your own body if you're loving yourself, is understanding that you can put the current of love into your body. Breathe it in, suck it up. Have a moment of feeling a deep sense of embodiment. Separating the roles of giver and receiver, playing with different pressures and different speeds. And then energetically, it's noticing the nuances and the subtlety of sensation. Is this a sensation that is fast with lots of movement? Yang. Is this a sensation that is yin and filled with anticipation? Yin. Nice and slow. In closing, Charles, is there anything you want to add about yin and yang?
We are both, and we must be masterful in being a good giver and a good receiving station. The more you practice over the years, the more connected you are. But when you're disconnected because you've been out in the world doing things and you're really closed down, your energy body remembers, oh, connected. Because connected and love feel a lot better than shut down and numb.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have a free event coming up May 18th. Charles and I will be leading an introduction to Tantra. We will be meeting on Zoom May 18th at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. You do have to enroll to attend the program. Links to the enrollment page on my bio on Instagram, and also I believe on the Source Tantra bio. So please join us. We're excited to get things moving and grooving again.
This is the art of conscious loving. And it goes back 45 years when I started teaching this. The word Tantra has so many meanings now, you can get confused. Oh, I took a weekend and I know what it is. You come to this introduction and you'll know what the art of conscious loving is. And you'll learn 3 or 4 techniques that you can that very night take home to practice with your partner.
And we would love to hear from you. If you've got ideas for short subjects that you would like to see on IG Live, Charles and I are going to start doing these on a regular basis, and we would love to address topics that are most important to you. So have a beautiful evening. Thanks, Charles.
Thank you for having me. You're wonderful, Leah. I love you.
I love you too. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, friends.